Well, hi everyone. I'm John Rethland, and these are my predictions for AEW's Revolution pay-per-view. In just a couple days, we are going to have the first AEW pay-per-view of this year, and it's looking to be pretty goddamn good. Now, 7 matches may not seem like the biggest card, but honestly, having some really well-hyped matches with some good story building and a couple underneath matches kind of is the way to go. Because then you don't have them go longer than 4 hours, and if it goes longer than 4 hours, please consult your doctor immediately. But I wanted to wait until after Dynamite. I'm just recording this a few hours after Dynamite to see what matches they would add. And they had a couple matches on their social media yesterday and one match on Dynamite tonight. Pac versus Orange Cassidy. If Pac does not beat Orange Cassidy in 5 minutes, I'm going to be sorely disappointed. There are Orange Cassidy fans that watch my channel. And that's great. You guys can like him. You guys can cheer him. You guys can enjoy him, find him entertaining. That's fine. And that doesn't mean you guys are wrong. I'm not going to tell you guys are wrong. You think differently than I do. And that is the great thing about wrestling. Different likes and dislikes. I don't like the gimmick. I don't understand the gimmick. I don't want to understand the gimmick. I don't need to. I refuse to understand the gimmick. It's fucking stupid. It is so fucking stupid. It's embarrassing to me. Now, could he be a good wrestler? Sure. All right. Fine. He's a good wrestler. I still think it's a dumb gimmick. And I hope Pac destroys him and beats the shit out of him in 5 minutes. That being said, it's probably going to go 10 to 15 because they're going to try and extend some time on this pay-per-view. But really, Pac should win in very dominant fashion. Then we have Jake Hager versus Dustin Rhodes after Sammy Hagar, not the singer, decided to break Dustin's hand in a limousine door or car door. We are getting this match, which did happen, yes, at one point on WWE Main Event years ago, and somebody pointed that out, saying AEW is copying WWE, and we continue the pissing contest between brainless fans. Fans that lack a goddamn brainstem and lack probably a lot of other things. But, very hard to do things that are wholly original. Now, were these guys that were featured in WWE pretty prominently? Yes. Goldust much more so than Jake Hager. Or Hagar, or, Hagar the Horrible. Well, I mean, maybe his views on Twitter are, but anyway, that's another story for another day. Jake Hagar is going to get the victory. They built this up nicely. He hasn't had a match. Dustin doing the honors here would be the proper thing. Jake could get over. You could have him and Sammy team up and go after the tag team championships at some point. But without Jake at least gaining a victory here, what have you done all this build for? And Dustin taking this loss isn't going to hurt him because he's still going to be well respected. Jake, however, I don't think is going to... Hager's he's not somebody you really can totally invest in, because if you take a look at his WWE run, he's good enough in the ring, but he's not interesting. And unfortunately, he hasn't been presented a whole lot better. I mean, he hasn't really been talking, which is a good thing because he's not very good at promos. But anyway, that's another story for another day. Hagar's going to get the victory. Then we have Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara. Now, you thought I'd apply the same logic and have Sammy Guevara win here. No, Darby Allin's going to get the victory. They built this up pretty nicely with the skateboard shot to Darby Allin's throat, him doing the vignettes where he's using the flashcards, calling out Sammy Guevara, and then they had the thing happen on Dynamite where he stopped Sammy, caused Sammy to lose, get pinned by Jungle Boy earlier on Dynamite, and then Sammy got some revenge on him, hitting him in the face with the skateboard. So watch soon they'll do skateboard ladder match. The winner is the one that can get the skateboard. Whoever gets up the ladder to get the skateboard gets to use it. Holy fuck, they're gonna actually do that, aren't they? I'd be amazed if they didn't make that a stipulation, but maybe they'll have it at some point on Dynamite. But Darby Allin's going to get the victory here. I think they're building him up pretty nicely. He's had some really good matches, and he seems like he could be their Sting. So Darby's going to get the win here. Nyla Rose versus Chris Statlander, AEW Women's Championship. Too soon to take title off of Nyla. However, having Chris Statlander take a pinfall victory, a clean loss, could hurt her also. So I think they're going to have some women interfere. I don't know. You get a big Swole show up. You could have some other women. You could have a big schmoz after these two powerhouses collide with each other for a number of minutes. Sure, doing a DQ finish on a pay-per-view might feel like a cheap way to extend the feud. But you could also do it maybe where, somebody costs Statlander, via distraction and stuff. Sure, distractions are a little bit, silly and a little bit overused. But then, Nyla could be like, okay, I'll go through everybody else, and Statlander could build back up saying, hey, I need another shot at you. And maybe at the next pay-per-view or later down the road, even after that, have Statlander get beat, and then have Nyla Rose lose to somebody else, lose the title to somebody else no sooner than August or maybe even the November pay-per-view. Give her a nice long reign, and just to piss some people off, and also to see how well she can hold the championship, be a dominant monster. But it's too soon to take the title off of Statlander. That's just my personal, or take the title off of Nyla and to give it to Statlander. So I would say do a big old schmoz where you cause a DQ or a distraction thing, and Nyla Rose wins, but it's not clean, which might seem a little much, but I think you can make stars out of these two women and shelve the feud for later. So MJF versus Cody. I'm going to make it really, really easy here because Wardlow's going to be in MJF's corner and Arn is going to be in Cody's corner. And I would be surprised if Arn did not join MJF because they kind of teased all that stuff happening in the cage match, and then Arn hit MJF with the cage. That being said, they're building all this stuff up and everything. Cody's gone through all this to get his hands on MJF and everything, and guess what's going to happen? I think MJF's going to beat him. That's going to heap more heat on MJF, who some people think is the best heel in wrestling. Other people don't think he's the best heel in wrestling. I think he's one of the best. Do I think he's the best? No. He's better than any heel WWE has currently because he's allowed to be more open with how he is. Though there could be some great heels. That's another discussion for another day. There's better heels in New Japan. But MJF's a pretty damn good antagonist. And having him beat Cody here after all that stuff that Cody went through. Somebody screws him over, Arn screws him over or something. You could just get it where like Cody's going to be even down more and build back up and eventually beat MJF at a pay-per-view or beat him on Dynamite and then finally get a shot at Chris Jericho. Like say, I would say Double or Nothing because you would give Jericho the title for 9 months, but we'll see. I mean, I don't think that's going to happen yet. I think they're going to build it to almost a year where Jericho is Le Champion and then he finally like loses it to Cody. But MJF's winning here. This ain't going to be over yet. And it would just get that much more, heat, that much more anger from the fans to MJF's side. Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page, as JR says, versus the Young Bucks, AEW Tag Team Championship. The Young Bucks are winning because Page is likely going to either be too drunk or is going to turn on Kenny Omega because he's sick of the Elite and he's sick of this shit, tosses the championship down, and the Bucks win. I would be very, very surprised if the titles do not change hands here. The Omega and Page team is very transitional, as far as like just being champions. They aren't going to be champions for very long, and I think that would be the right call. And plus, it would give the Bucks a championship, like the chance to like maybe put another team over at the next pay-per-view or by August. You might as well just give it to the Bucks and then build up another team. But Page and Omega are not it. I'd be very shocked if they retained. And then we get Chris Jericho versus Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship. Chris Jericho's retaining. They built up this thing like crazy. They've had the whole spike in the eye. They've had all this stuff, Jericho wanting Moxley join the Inner Circle at first and all the stuff that they've done and the weigh-in they did tonight on Dynamite. And it's going to be Chris Jericho retaining. Now, will it be clean? No. Inner Circle's probably going to run. It's probably going to be a massive dusty finish with a whole bunch of people running in, the 2 referees and all that. You're probably going to have a whole lot of ref bumps. You're probably going to have a lot of shit happen. And it's going to be convoluted. It will not be clean, but it will be a way to protect Moxley, but he is going to take the loss here. Juice effect or something. Juice effect to the bad eye. And then Jericho beats him. So that's what I think is going to happen. So I have one championship changing hands. That's the Young Bucks winning the Tag Team Championship. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin, and I'll see you soon.